Hey, Spider Nation, welcome back to another episode of Spider-Man's Tangled WebShow. I'm Jonathan, and joining me today is James. What's going on, James?
Really tired. I had a really goddamn busy work week, as I told the guys. I had 40 plus hours overtime, so I'm very, very, very tired. But, I'm perky enough to go talk about comics with the guys. Oh, and I picked up some classic WWE Elite figures. Like I got 99 era Rock and Mankind from SummerSlam 99 with the world title, which is really cool because now I can reenact their match from the Royal Rumble that year and their matches from St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And Mankind won the title because it has Rock with his booby shirt because Rock had allegedly had steroids, and allegedly they gave him big boobs, and allegedly he had to have surgery, so he had to wear this weird black t-shirt when he wrestled at that time period. I'm saying allegedly because I don't want Dwayne The Rock Johnson to sue me because, dude, Rock, you're awesome. I loved you when I was your kid wrestling. So I want to make sure I'm just clarifying from rumors, allegedly. But I can reenact his classic match with Mankind where he hit Mankind over the head with a steel chair 19 times because it was the 90s and nobody gave a shit about concussions back then. Because now you look back on that match and it's like, oh my God, how did you not kill him? Like, it's so painful to watch because they're actually hitting each other with chairs. It's like, and bells. And it's like, how is he not dead now? We know about concussions. Because they have come out, both him and Mankind. When you do a chair shot in wrestling, yeah, they use lighter chairs than normal, but that's still metal hitting your head at full force. It still fucking hurts and can give you a concussion easily. So yeah, I got those figures. So I got them lined up from a poster from their feud, and it's all like Mankind's coming in for his finisher, the mandible claw, and then the Rock's with a title belt just getting ready to whack him over the head with it.
And today I'm also being joined by Jan. What's going on, Jan?
Oh, what's that? I'm just reading an issue of John's favorite comic of all time, Spectacular Spider-Man, written by his favorite writers, Chip Zdarsky. Before the show, John told me that he wishes that Chip Zdarsky would write Spider-Man until the world itself goes into supernova and explodes.
That is
so
not
pretty
true.
much another 100 billion years.
Yes.
That is absolutely not true, and we will get to that later. But
I love it that when I told him when I was looking at the ads for Amazing, and he must have skipped over. I go, oh look, Marvel 200 runs into by Chip Zdarsky, and he's just like, fuck, I'm not picking up that title now. It's like I wanted to support it to show Marvel that the Fantastic Four still have a place, but fuck Chip.
no, I did not say that, but I did say I will not buy that title. I'm sorry, Chip Zdarsky. You just don't sit. You're writing.
I'm sorry, Fantastic Four fans, if I fuck up your chance of getting the full team back now.
But I'm sorry, Chip Zdarsky. Your writing just doesn't vibe with me. But we're not here to well, actually, we are here to talk about Spectacular Spider-Man. But that's later.
We're not here. Oh wait, yes we are.
That's later. Jan, the cartoon. Use the cartoon to please save me from embarrassing myself.
Well, the cartoon that I watched this morning, approximately 4 hours ago, they aired 3 episodes today, which I thought was weird.
They're pushing these things out, aren't they?
They are. But watching them together, it made sense because they're it's sort of like the Black Suit. This is like the show's version of the Black Suit story. And once again, I liked it. I don't think these were quite as good as the ones from last week, but they were still pretty solid overall. The first one was called Sandman. As you can expect, they introduced the Lizard. Kidding, they introduced Sandman. And it was kind of like a riff on the Dan Slott-ish, where he's looking for his daughter. And I thought Sandman himself was probably
not the Dan Slott-ish. They're ripping off Spider-Man 3.
No, but it's like his daughter from the Dan Slott run, like Kemia.
Oh, that's for Brand New Day. Isn't that a Fred Van Lente?
Yeah, for Brand New Day. It's a Brand New Day, like his daughter from Brand New Day.
But that's adapted from Spider-Man 3. So are they literally giving Dan Slott credit for something that another movie did?
No, they didn't give him credit for it. I just said that because I'm stupid, I guess. I didn't want to
I'm pretty sure Slott didn't write that story.
I think that was Chip Kelly.
I could check, but I don't really feel like it. So anyway.
And I just reorganized my issues of Spider-Man, including all the back issues I just recently picked up. And I got them right there in file. I could pick up that issue now.
If you want to, you can do that. But anyway, so the episode, basically Sandman, this version of Sandman was a former enforcer for Hammerhead, who they introduced here. And he was doing it to provide for him and his daughter. And his daughter is like a science student who is bitter that she doesn't approve of what her father does. and Flint Marko like somehow fails Hammerhead and they try to kill him with like, I don't know, it was kind of confusing, but you have to watch it. I can't explain it very well. But anyway, he turns into Sandman. She gets Sandman powers too, and now she's like rebelling against him because she feels like he ruined her chance to live a legitimate life or something. So overall, I think my main pros, I liked Sandman, and I thought this is the most like sympathetic and likable Sandman that they've had. It was like the Spider-Man 3 Sandman, but like done well. Like it wasn't, like he actually was like a sympathetic character, and he wasn't like running around like killing people left and right. And just lucky that Spider-Man saved everybody they tried to kill, so you can say that he's not a bad person. The action was really cool. There was a scene near the beginning at like a carnival where he tries to knock a Ferris wheel over that Spider-Man has to save with his webs. That was kind of fun. I like Hammerhead. Like I think introducing him was cool, and I hope he shows up again. Spider-Man arrests him at the end, so maybe he'll show up again with like a grudge. And it didn't seem like he had any superhuman powers yet, so maybe he'll come back in a bigger way in the future. And I like how this show was really serialized. Like this really did feel like one part of a 3-part story, because Peter gets the black suit, and that's how he beats. It's actually Sandman's daughter's more the villain by the end, because Sandman is just trying to like find her. Like Sandman's daughter's the one who's actually like quote unquote evil, and he uses the black suit to beat her, and then captures Hammerhead and the goons, and then she gets away. But whatever. So I like how, and they started setting up the Stark Expo, which comes back in the 3rd episode that aired today. So I like how serialized the show is. So those are my pros. My only real con is that I didn't care for the way Sandman's daughter was portrayed. Like her motivation for being a villain by the end seemed really flimsy, and I didn't quite buy it. And she seemed like a whiny drum queen. So I don't know. I didn't care for that character. So that was kind of my only con. So it was a pretty good episode. Probably not the best we've gotten so far, but also not the worst. I think it's still better than that. The one that's technically the worst was the first Jackal one, where the 2 characters like had to fight to the death for no reason in the city and didn't get arrested or face any repercussions. So, pretty average episode so far.
Redland Fitke was the writer.
Oh, funny story about him. My friend actually met him at a con and said he was really nice. So that's interesting.
So shout out to Fred Van Linty.
Yeah, for being a nice guy to my friend, who probably from like 10 years ago when he saw him at a con. Anyway, back on topic, Jan. The next episode was Symbiotic Relationship, and this was basically the full-on black suit episode. And there was a lot of Spider-Man 3 in here, but it was sort of like the way Peter was acting with the black suit was like a more well-done version of the way Peter was acting in that movie. Like he was kind of douchey, but it wasn't nearly as over-the-top or silly as it was in that movie, but he was still kind of like wearing sunglasses. Like they didn't do stuff like what John is doing right now. It was a little bit.
The stuff that I still to this day, now looking back on it, I think because Raimi did not get Venom at all. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna make Peter Parker look like a dork just to prove how dumb this was.
Yeah, exactly. So it was not like that. And also, I'm gonna go on a really short tangent so I don't overextend my 10-minute time limit. But in Spider-Man 3, my big fanboy nitpick with that movie is during the montage of Peter Parker dancing, he gives Jameson these pictures of black suited Spider-Man like beating up criminals, and these pictures look like really cool action scenes that would have been really fun to see, like Spider-Man like holding 2 motorcycles in the air as like the guys fall off and like shoving a guy like through a windshield like face first. And I've always complained that like, why did Sam Raimi feel that it was necessary to show us Peter Parker dancing, but we didn't get to see black suited Spider-Man going like full like Batman, like Daredevil on some criminals. So this episode kind of has scenes like that where you see he's being kind of violent and rough on some of the guys he's fighting. So I like that. I liked how Peter pretty quickly realizes that the black suit's taking him too far when he accidentally attacks Harry Osborn. And that's when he's like, okay, this is like, pushing me to the kind of person I don't want to be. We also got the Vulture showed up again in this episode, and he started working for Norman Osborn. And I feel like maybe we're setting up a Sinister Six type thing, because the Shocker works for Norman Osborn, and the Jackal tried to, and now Vulture does. And then by the end of the 3rd one, Doc Ock is working for him as well. So it looks like maybe we'll see a Sinister Six thing relatively soon. So Vulture shows up, and Norman Osborn is making his security team like wear the Vulture gear. So he has a whole like group of people that are wearing like the Vulture wings and stuff, which is kind of a cool idea. So I liked all that stuff. I didn't really have any real problems with this episode. This is probably the strongest one of these 3. it was really good. And by the end, Peter has taken off the black suit and is back to his regular red and blues. So that was good. This was a good episode. I liked it. Probably quite not the best, but it was probably one of the better ones we've had so far. And then the third one was called Stark Expo, and this is where we kind of were building up to this for the last two episodes, which is it's kind of like Iron Man 2. There's actually a lot of like shout outs to all three Iron Man movies. Like Tony Stark is holding the expo there, and Horizon High and Osborn Academy both signed up. So they're testing out their gadgets. And my general pros for this episode were I enjoyed how they portrayed Iron Man. He was very Robert Downey Jr. MCU light kind of Iron Man, which I like that version. So it was kind of fun to see some shout outs. There were a lot of shots with him, like the way he enters the expo was basically the way he entered in Iron Man 2. And there's a shot that's kind of similar to the way the armor was like assembling on him in Iron Man 3. So there were some cool Iron Man shout outs. And Iron Man's probably my third favorite Marvel character, so I just enjoy seeing him in anything. Ghost was the villain, and he was very much the classic like comic book Ghost. Like he was anti-corporation, and he took control of everybody's gadgets, and he was making stuff go crazy. So he was kind of a cool villain. We set up both. I feel like Dr. Octopus and the Green Goblin are like one step closer to coming and like appearing in the show now, because we see Otto Octavius. He like all the students bring their individual inventions to this expo to try to win, and Otto Octavius's invention is his octopus arms. And then we see that he's having some conflict with Max Modell, and at the end he accepts an offer from Norman Osborn to join Osborn Academy. So I feel like we're setting him up a little bit. And then we see Harry Osborn is, he's developed the Goblin Glider and stuff. And Norman Osborn kind of makes some hints that maybe, he doesn't let Harry show that stuff at the expo because he wants to keep that stuff private, like for later use. So I feel like those two villains are probably going to appear. Like we're getting closer to them. I think they're probably going to save Green Goblin for like the end of the season. Like I feel like that's what the whole thing's building up to. Whether it'll be Harry or Norman, I don't know. I can see either of them, but I feel like there's a chance it could be Harry. Like Harry might be the Green Goblin first, kind of like ASM2. So that stuff was good. And then we finally resolved the black suit story for good, because Peter, the Ghost, is messing with technology, so he shorts out all of Spider-Man's web shooters and gadgets. So Peter has to use the Venom symbiote as like a last resort to save Tony Stark, because the Ghost is using his control of technology to give Tony Stark a heart attack, because this version has the arc reactor in his chest. So then Iron Man helps them get the symbiote off, and then they put it in a container, and Tony Stark takes it to the Avengers headquarters. So they kind of wrap that up. My pros for that episode, that was that. My cons are, I think Iron Man's voice actor was pretty good. My cat just jumped on my chair. Iron Man's voice actor was pretty good. He sounded a little bit like he was trying too hard to sound like Robert Downey Jr., so that was a little bit distracting. But because he would some lines he would sound a lot like him, and then some lines he would sound a little bit off. So I thought that was a little bit distracting. But I feel like he was giving a pretty good like performance. Like the acting was pretty good. And my other con was that I'm still not completely sold on the voice actor for Doc Ock. I feel like he doesn't sound threatening at all. He sounds like a really whiny kid. And I feel like one of the consistent things that I like about the show is the voice acting. So he's the only one that I haven't, I feel like all the other actors are really nailing their roles. And I feel like he's still, I'm not completely sold on him. Maybe when he turns evil, I'll buy him a little bit more. But for now, I'm not thrilled with him. So that's it. Next week is going to be, I think, Miles Morales getting powers. So, yay.
Gosh.
So I don't know. I'm not thrilled about that, but, the Miles character has been kind of fun so far. And then I think after that is Kraven. I don't know if they're just going to air one or if they're going to continue to air, them in groups. But, some exciting things coming up. So there you go. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good 3-episode arc, and I'm continuing to enjoy the show.
Okay, we'll move on to comic reviews. We've got a lot of current comics to catch up on. One of them just came out this week, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, number 32, or as James likes to call it, Amazing Spider-Man 788, because next month we're going back to classic numbering with 789.
Because that's not going to be confusing for new readers. See, Amazing Spider-Man 32. Oh, must have just started this Spider-Man series with the movie. Next issue 79. What the fuck happened to the other issues?
James, we've been begging for classic numbering back for years. Let's just appreciate our victories.
No, I'm not complaining about that. It's just that it's like the damage is already done. Like, try to figure out where Avengers 600 is. We're on the road to 700, but where's it? What happened to 600? You stopped at 500 with Disassembled, and now you're coming back on the road to 700. Where did you 600? Somewhere probably in New Avengers numbering. I don't know.
All right, but this one is entitled Personal Demon. Dan Slott writer, Greg Smallwood is the artist, Jordi Belair is the colorist, VC's Joe Caramagna is the letterer, assistant editor Allison Stock, associate editor Devin Lewis, editor Nick Lowe. All right, boys and girls, let's start with this comic. Let's get this over with. So basically, Norman is desperate to turn himself back into the Green Goblin, but as we know, at the end of Superior, Spider-Man cured him of the Goblin Serum, and Spider-Man's cure is preventing Norman from turning himself back. He's trying every method possible, and he's getting nowhere. So what is the one method that he hasn't tried? Mystic Mumbo Jumbo. So he goes off to somewhere. The temple. Let's see. Let me find the name of this again. It's like the temple with no name or something. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so basically Norman is like, well, I'm trying to become like this crazy psychotic, I'm trying to become this crazy psychotic supervillain again, but I'm not getting anywhere. Can your Mystic Mumbo Jumbo help me with this? Yeah, I think we can. Step this way and we'll give you a test. So basically they're like, okay, Norman, just put your hand on this emerald and it's your first test. Okay. So then a bunch of, magic stuff comes out of it. And you see like a montage of Norman studying and practicing. And he's like, there are stories in here of people like Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom and Baron Mordo. Oh, yeah. Yeah, their stories are kind of similar to yours, but every story is unique in its own way. So then they're like, you will find your totem, and when you do, the totem will choose you, and you will choose it back. And so basically, Norman has a hallucination of a tiger that walks up to him, and it's like the tiger's supposed to be his totem. But then they're like, okay, so reach out and accept your totem. But then he's like, screw that, and puts on a goblin mask. And then he conjures up an illusion of Spider-Man, and he kills the illusion of Spider-Man. And the masters are like, why? You don't need to kill him. You beat him. Why are you killing him? Because Norman's basically like, because I'm crazy, that's why.
No, he's not crazy. He's sane.
Oh, right, yeah, because this is technically sane Norman Osborn. And then it's like after he does that, Norman eats a spider because it's meant to be symbolic of him killing Spider-Man. And then so basically... then he grows giant, and the masters are like, okay, we got to shut this guy down, so they cast a spell. But then it's revealed that this entire thing has just been a hallucination, and that Norman never did anything after putting his hand on the emerald, and everything in between that point and now has been a hallucination. So then Norman's like, what was that? And basically the masters are like, that was your test. You failed. Get the fuck out of here. And so Norman's like, But I could have been powerful. But then Norman's like, wait a minute. Not could have been. I can be powerful. The Green Goblin is still inside me, and I will become him again. Mwahahaha. The end. That's basically it. I'm going to go ahead with my thoughts first. What the heck did I just read? What did I just read? Because, wow. Okay. So Norman is desperate to become a psycho again, because Norman, basically. So he goes to the temple with no name, and puts his hand on an emerald, has a hallucination, and then the issue's over. That doesn't feel like a story. That feels like...
Probably because it isn't.
John, we paid $4 for this.
We paid $4 to watch Norman imagine something.
Collectively, we paid $12.
We paid
to talk about this.
Collectively, we paid $12 to read Norman Osborn having a hallucination.
Awesome.
Literally, his whole explanation at the end is, yes, I can be the Green Goblin again, and you see it in his ear. No, you fucking... Is this supposed to be him, like... Okay, because this is a segue into my review now. Is this supposed to be him realizing, yes, I have been insane this whole time?
I guess... Maybe?
Because, again, I'm reading this whole book, and even with his hallucination, I'm just thinking... How are you not... I mean, I said this before in our last Green Goblin review. Am I crazy for noticing how crazy this guy still is, even though people act like he's sane now?
No.
Like those monks said, in his vision, they're like, get the fuck out, you're fucked up. But no, this is sane Norman Osborn.
Because sane people go to mystic temples that are apparently super hard to find, and then put their hands on emeralds so that they can dress up like a demon and fly around throwing pumpkin bombs at people.
That's what I do every day, dude.
It's like you see him with going to all these places, like the doctor. He's talking to a psychiatrist, because that's what psychiatrists would do. Hey, I want to be mentally deranged again.
I didn't even think about that.
And I love that how she basically goes, yeah, I do the opposite. I don't do that, so get the fuck out of here. But she's drawn pretty hot, so knowing Norman, he probably banged her.
Yep.
No, she's not a blonde, so she's not Norman's type.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Literally, you know what I told John was the best part about this comic? All these fucking, like, throwback 60s, 70s style ads for the upcoming Legacy books.
Yeah, those are fun.
That's the coolest part of a $4 comic. You're doing something wrong. When paid advertisements is the best part of a book that I paid $4 for.
This is this is Amazing Spider-Man. This is like each of our favorite Marvel comics, because it's like our favorite character, Spider-Man, and he's technically not even in the book because it's just a hallucination within a hallucination.
I would like to.
It's all Norman doing one thing.
And I don't think it's a bad, like, we've all, I think most of us have read Bendis' Daredevil run, and there are, like, several issues that Matt Murdock is not even in that run, but, if the writing is good.
Deconstruction writing. There's issues of Ultimate where it's just Mary Jane and Aunt May going shopping talking about Peter.
Yeah, but, that could still be good, but, like, this writing is not that good, so it's just, like, boring. Like, I'm sitting here, like, the fact... like, I would read a Bendis, like, Daredevil arc, and I'd be like, oh my god, like, it's been 4 issues since I saw Matt Murdock, and I don't even care because it's so good. And this is not that. So,
this is, like, here's the thing. Nothing happened in this issue. Norman Osborn is in the exact same spot that he was at the end of Amazing 28.
No, the difference is he was, like...
The final issue of this volume of Amazing Spider-Man, before it goes back to volume 1. This comic that's like bigger, it's like double size, that we paid $4 for, is literally just like no plot. There's nothing. It's just, what did Norman gain here that he didn't gain at the end of Clone Conspiracy? Or the fall of Parker, or whatever the fuck that arc was called.
Osborn Identity.
What has he gained?
The knowledge that he could be the Green Goblin again, but it's like he had this 4 issues ago.
He had this knowledge that he wanted to be the Green Goblin again before.
It's like literally nothing happened.
This comic is pointless.
It's not worth the paper it's printed on. Do I even need to ask thumbs up, sideways, or down?
This is the worst issue 32 of Amazing Spider-Man in the history of 32 issues of Amazing Spider-Man.
It is better than the crap we reviewed last week.
Yeah, so
that's a sad thing to say. That's like the biggest compliment I could give it.
It's better than Omit. Wow.
Is that going to be our scale going forward? Well, if it's a crap comic, at least it's not Omit.
Yep.
At least this book had... what's a positive?
There's nothing about this book. Like, technically I don't hate it. Like, I pointed out my problems with it. Like, I give it a thumbs down, but because my biggest con is that there's nothing here.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, I don't hate this comic.
There's nothing to hate.
There's nothing to it. It's just a hallucination because it's like, it's a hallucination because Norman touched an emerald. I'm not, like, I don't even try to understand the mystic crap, so it's like...
Like, I get the point. You're one issue away from the relaunch, and Slott probably says, okay, this is kind of like a palate cleanser, like a break after doing the whole fall of Parker Industries, and now we're moving on to, this next arc that the way it looks, it's setting up Peter working again at the Bugle and all that stuff. You want to have a kind of a break, a filler issue. I get that. Like you said, Bendis did that a lot. JMS has done that. You need a filler issue. I mean, the Brainy Day era did that a lot, where there'll be like a one-shot issue done by a guest writer, even like Stern, and it will be just done for like that 1 week, and then until they get to the next multi-arc or whatever. But you got to at least give us a story.
This had no story.
One-shot. That's not even a story. You could have put like little elements. Like I said, you probably want to save all your Peter Parker aftermath of Parker Industry for this book. But when I think it's like in Omega, like somebody said some other book I'm not picking up, they're already saying that the Baxter Building's up for sale because Peter's in bankruptcy. You could have literally just had Norman seen a headline about that. At least that kind of, now the Amazing Spider-Man touching that plot point. You know what I mean? That Parker Industries goes out of business after Secret Empire, after an event with Captain, after Hydra, after Hydra and all the shit that it went down. Company's now bankrupt. Like, something to at least have us connection. No, this book literally could have been written any time in the history of Amazing Spider-Man with Norman, where he was alive.
All right, so I think I said this already, but thumbs down pretty much from everyone, because it's like it's not that we hate it; it's just there's nothing to like, which is like not an insult, but not a compliment.
It's just there. It's fine.
But so that's Amazing Spider-Man. That's Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, everybody. We're done with it now.
Everybody wave bye to it. Bye, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4.
Bye.
Probably the least memorable volume of Spider-Man's history.
I would say 18 is. Because literally, I forget a lot of times that Volume 18 is the thing.
Volume 18? What do you mean Volume 3?
I mean, Volume 3, because it had 18 issues, sorry. But you know what I mean? Literally, Volume 3 is just like Chapter 1 of Volume 4 in my eyes.
It's like the prologue.
It's up Chapter 4.
But see, at least that volume gave us Spiral, which is one of my favorite Spider-Man stories, like, from the past few years.
Like, literally, other than Spider-Verse happening during Volume 3, what else is memorable about it?
Oh, yeah, Spider-Verse happened. I forgot about that story.
Spiral?
I meant the actual goddamn numbering, not the point issues. Because according to this lot, those don't count no more. Not even this one to crawl, which an upcoming Amazing arc is dealing with Clash. But no, that's just a mini-series. That's not a part of Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay, so moving off of Amazing Spider-Man, on to Spectacular Spider-Man. Spectacular Spider-Man number 3. This is the cover. This issue came out like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but we just never reviewed it because we've been talking about other things. This one, writer Chip Zdarsky, artist Adam Kubert, color artist Jordi Belair. Oh, same colorist. Letter VC's Travis Lanham, assistant editor Allison Stock, associate editor Devin Lewis, editor Nick Lowe. So basically, we start off with J. Jonah Jameson sitting on an exercise ball because J. Jonah Jameson apparently cares about fitness now. So J. Jonah Jameson is sitting on an exercise ball at his laptop.
You've seen the headlines every time.
What?
You've seen the headlines every time. Sorry, I got to put some reference to the Spectacular Spider-Man theme song in every time we do a review. Like, if I could force feed a lyric from that song, I'm going to do it.
So J. Jonah Jameson is typing up, an anti-Spider-Man article because J. Jonah Jameson, basically.
Is he not at the Fact Channel no more?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing is he still at the Fact Channel? Did he get fired? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't remember. I feel like I should know that answer, but I don't. But
I think I remember hearing from somebody that he's not with them no more. Like he walked out set during Secret Empire during one of the tie-ins, but I wasn't reading the event, so how was I supposed to know that? You know what I mean?
But anyway, so we go back to Peter's apartment, and basically Teresa is there taking a nap, and she wakes up to see Karnak sitting there staring at her. And basically she's like, who the hell are you, and why are you staring at me? And Karnak is like, oh, the Human Torch asked me to babysit you, so yeah, I did. And Peter and Johnny walk in, they're like, wait a minute, Johnny, I didn't know that you actually called Karnak. And he's like, yeah, why would I make that up? So Peter's like, but I'm not wearing the mask. My secret identity. Oh my gosh. And Karnak is like, do you honestly think I give a shit about your secret identity? Basically. So Peter and Johnny are explaining to Teresa where they went. Peter's like, oh no, I had to go punch Dr. Doom. And Johnny's like, bullshit, you went on a date. And so Peter's like, sorry. But so they're like, well, anyway, we got to go visit the Kingpin. And Teresa's like, I'm coming too. And Peter's like, no, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Damn it. Okay. So, yeah, they decide that she can't go just as, Teresa Parker. So they take her to the Tinkerer's brother or cousin or whatever, or whoever this guy is. And
Andre.
Yeah, they take her to the Tinkerer Light, I'm going to call him. And so
Andre. His name is Andre.
They take him to Andre. They take her to Andre. I really hope you're not lying to me, James.
His name is Andre, John. It says it right here in the comic.
I know, but so they take Teresa to Mason, and they say, hey, can you make her a superhero? He's like, okay. So she basically turns into female Falcon, I guess, because she has wings and everything. And so,
wait, are you serious?
Just
FYI, I have not read this issue. I've had a long week. I'm sorry, podcasters, for my incompetence.
So yeah, they go to Kingpin's headquarters. They break in, and Kingpin's like, well, you're breaking and entering. That sucks. Here's a sprinkler system to, shut down the Human Torch. And so Spider-Man's like, I know that you've developed untraceable phones, and Fisk is like, look, I'm a decent citizen now. I've moved on from my criminal past, which is, there's more about that in Daredevil and Secret Empire and everything like that. But yeah, Kingpin, he's basically trying to be on the up and up, and he's playing this whole good citizen role. He's playing, I'm a good person now, and I've made those untraceable phones for the purposes of stopping corporate espionage. But I guess they've been pilfered, and I guess some criminals have gotten their hands on them. What a shame. But then Kingpin looks at Teresa, and he's like, I know you, Teresa Parker, and he's like, and so then he looks at Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's like, does he remember who I am? Oh no, this is not good. And then the Tinkerer shows up and basically forms the Tinkerer shows up with all these giant robots, and yeah, it's about to be a big fight. Meanwhile, the issue ends with Jonah Jameson getting a tip that Spider-Man's working with Teresa, who Teresa is currently, a wanted fugitive. So, that doesn't look good for Spider-Man. So J. Jonah Jameson's, going to get all up on that. So that's the end. That's the end of that issue. Dun dun dun. To be continued. James, you're the one who really enjoys this book more than I do. So what did you think of this issue?
Not as good as the first two. There's a lot of problems. I like the other book because at least it's not amazing. The first two issues, it had a lot more classic fun Spider-Man. But this issue, there's a lot of problems with it. Not as bad as I saw some people bitching. People keep bitching about there's a continuity error that Teresa's sleeping here because the ending of the last issue she was looking at family photos that she's not in because she's not technically part of the family, or maybe she is. It's she could have looked at those pictures before she went to sleep. That is a thing. You know that, right? But whatever. The art's still good. I like the artwork. But, the story falls apart to me once you get to the Kingpin stuff. It's for once, and I gotta agree with some other people about this. Why is Teresa, who's wanted by the a dark rogue agency of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the government, all this shit, why is she not wearing a mask then when she's wearing her superhero secret identity? You think that would help them not be able to track her?
But see, James, that would be too smart.
And then you get to the Kingpin stuff, this is the stuff that up into the Daredevil show. I was going to say the Deadpool show, and I don't know why I was going to say that. But the Daredevil show, I never liked Kingpin as a character because this is the God mode shit that I used to not like when I was a kid on the 90s show, where he was completely untouchable with everything. It's oh, sprinkler system. Oh, holograms. She doesn't know who to shoot now. It's then she'll just shoot them all. And then you get to the Spider-Man stuff where the only comeback he has back for Kingpin is that your toilet must be really awesome. It's you see him making holograms of a million Kingpin. I don't know which one's which. Doesn't your spider sense tell you which one's the real danger and which one's just a fucking hologram? It's just this issue really fell apart. Especially when you get to the part where Kingpin, he's so goddamn cocky about hinting that he knows Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and since the events of family business, and it's Peter grabbed him by not his shirt, but by his fucking skin, and said, "If you ever mess with my family again, I'm gonna kill you, bitch." And that's not me misquoting. That's basically what he said. I'm gonna fucking kill you if you mess with my family again, Fisk. Mark my words. You're a dead man. Yep. But obviously, Peter forgot about that because the second he realizes, holy shit, Kingpin might know him, Peter Parker, and now he's mind-fucking my sister with all this shit about is she not she my sister. Wouldn't that be for Kingpin, example of, okay, I don't want to mess with a woman who may or may not be a Parker because if I ever mess with Spider-Man's family again, he said he would kill me. But no, he's cockily not afraid about that because he knows that this guy is a fucking, sinks the slot, and this issue is a fucking douchebag who can't take down supervillains on his own, so he has to go, I'll get you next time, Fist. You got me in a technicality. It's can't I read a Spider-Man comic book where he fights the main villain and wins? Why does it have to be him teaming up with everybody and the villain saying, you're dumb? And his supporting cast saying, you're dumb. Why can't I just get Spider-Man?
Okay, James, any other thoughts? Do you give it a thumbs up, sideways, down?
I gotta give this a shit thumbs down. It's still better than the shit we got with Amazing, but
my review,
this issue is just bad.
My review, we sort of hinted at. We've been hinting at throughout the episode. I hate this comic. I hate it so much. I hate this series.
You hate everything.
No, I don't hate everything. But
you liked ASM over this.
This was not good. Basically, everything James pointed out, I agree with. Except for the artwork. I don't like the artwork either. Because I don't know why. It's just Adam. I've seen so much better out of Adam Kubert, and I don't like the style he's using for this. And plus, it's Spider-Man's annoying, and it's all these plot holes, like James pointed out. Why is Teresa not wearing a mask? Why, she's so afraid of getting caught, but she's willing to go out and do this stuff. It's oh, I hate this comic. The only interesting part is the Kingpin, and that's more just the fact that Kingpin's there, and I'm interested because I'm interested in what he's doing in other books.
But the problem, I hinted at, this is my problem. Otto was God mode. Kingpin in this issue is God mode. Norman in his fantasy had a whole goddamn comic. You know what? That amazing people who are writing the two main Spider-Man books since 1975 on and off again, Spec and Amazing have been the premier Spider-Man titles, and nobody can say any good things about Peter Parker. It's all his villains because that's who everybody wants to write about.
It's just, I give it a thumbs down. It just sucks. I'm sorry, but it really does. But James, I have a question for you. How about Ben Reilly?
Did somebody say clones?
Actually, no, I said Ben Reilly, but whatever.
What is Ben Reilly, John?
I know the joke, James. I'm just trying to ruin your joke because I'm a dick.
Okay, we get to issue 6 of the Spectacular Spider-Man. Now, boys and girls coming together, because we're going to read this comic, because, oh boy, is it a doozy.
Oh, man.
We see Vegas.
We're going to have story time, story time, story time.
Once upon a time, this is in the Marvel Universe, there was this magical place called Las Vegas, before it got fucking nuked or whatever in Secret Empire.
Yeah,
Wait,
we're not talking about that.
No. Did they nuke Las Vegas? Is Las Vegas a nuclear... is it non-existent in the Marvel Universe
Hydra
anymore?
Cap basically destroyed it.
It's literally the point that I think Peter David even pointed out, I think in a comment, like, we'll eventually get to it in Spectacular, like the aftermath of it.
In
because,
Ben Reilly.
Again, because that's the reason why Peter David wanted to leave Marvel, like, a decade ago with Friendly Neighborhood, because everything was dictated by, mandated by company crossovers and shit like that. And can you imagine him, like, now writing spec about our next company crossover, the city where you got your books happening, fucking blows up.
So, James, Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider, number 6.
Well, we see somebody with an I Love Vegas shirt, because I guess it's mostly irony because of Secret Empire. And somebody got shot. He got shot for some guy having fun driving in a truck. I'm not bullshitting you. Look at this. He's just I Love Vegas having fun and
What
just
the
shot
hell?
by some hillbillies in a truck.
What?
Aw.
Who
Peter
say, oh
David.
man, did you see his expression? Priceless, as he fucking dies. And then we see a redheaded chick, and we'll get to her. And she's like, I'm going to find out. Then we see Ben, giving more of his shit to the little girl, more of his cure shit and see if it works and all that stuff. It's more of that same stuff. And, then we go to goddamn, Aunt June or whatever. And she notices death and it freaks her out because she's an old woman. I guess that's the joke. Because the only time she turns away, and then Dev pretty much goes, calm down, I'm not coming for you yet. She goes, literally, that's the joke. It's Aunt June in the casino. And then she notices Dev, and Dev says, calm down, I'm just walking by. And then Aunt June goes back to her machines. Because get it? She's fucking old. And then Ben leaves while this is going on, and then you got more shit going on with Ben and Kane and Scarlet Spider and Kane Scarlet Spider and Clone of Spider-Man fighting Clone of Spider-Man and Scarlet Spider fighting Scarlet Spider.
Is it the 90s again?
Yeah.
I don't know, John. Tell me what this holographic cover I got in my hand. Tell me what this Mighty Morphin Power Ranger comic I just bought over here in my hand. And then we see Ben with Death, and of course she's fucking hot redhead, and he has Peter Parker's clone DNA. So of course he wants to fuck her. Does that make Ben Thanos? Does that make Ben Deadpool? Because that makes so much fucking sense now. So yeah, she basically said that she knows that he's Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, Spider-Man's clone. And of course, because she's a hot redhead showing off her legs, Ben wants to fuck her. So they're just walking around doing shit. They walk by a cop. They're talking about the guy who just got fucking gunned down for no reason whatsoever. And Ben comments on her looks, and she says thank you, because remember, she's hot redhead, and he has Peter Parker's DNA, so he wants to fuck her. I want to say it's them trying to set up a new Janine, who was Ben Reilly's main girlfriend in the Lost Years mini, but I think it's pretty clear what they're setting up. it's his version of MJ. So yeah, she's talking to him. The little girl flatlines. She starts having problems, like the cure's not working. And then Kane, Scarlet Spider, is in the window watching a little girl die.
Because Kane.
And then the guys shoot the cop, shoot a mother. This is getting crazy now with these goddamn cowboy weirdos. Literally, a cop comes up to them and goes, "Hey, aren't you the guys who BAM?" And then they shoot a mother in the knee.
This is like...
And they do it just so her baby carriage will get hit by a car because it's in the street.
What?
And then they're gonna kill shot her in the head, only for her baby to be saved by Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider. And then she gets fucking shot by one of the guys because she kicks the guy in the balls, goes to take his gun, and then she's shot in the chest by the goddamn, other gunman. So you go from the emotional high of Ben saves her baby and she's gonna be fine, and she gets shot. And then Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider, shoots the guy. I want to repeat. Ben Reilly shoots the guy in the shoulder, so it's not a kill shot. And then the mother turns out to be alive because the gun that shot her in the chest made all vital organs. And then she's like, "No, think of the children. You're Spider-Man. Don't kill these guys." And then it's like, I guess Ben snapping out of him being a tool since... Because then she's crying, like, "Think about my child." And he's like... She goes, "You're Spider-Man. Please stop fucking shooting people. Stop it. I got shot. My baby almost got shot. Some guy got shot. A cop got shot. You're shooting the guys that are doing the shots. Stop it. Will you please stop being fucking insane, this comic?" And Ben's reply, "But I'm not Spider-Man." So Ben Reilly just beats the fucking shit out of the guys. And then he's up on the rooftop. And he's like, "She's got a point. I mean, she has to take care of her kid. She reminds me of our uncle." And it gets cut off. By Kane. By Def. Who's all like, "Oh, why didn't you kill those guys? They're killers. You could have stopped the killer." And he goes, "I'm not raised that way." It's basically hinting he's becoming classic, but it's starting to snap him out of it. Because he's like, "I was raised to be responsible." It's hinting at him now being more like, the Ben Reilly from the fucking 90s. And then he's talking to her hot redheaded deaf lady. And then he's all like, "It's strange, but I'm starting... There's something going on here. I'm starting to change." And then enough of actually emotional character development. Kane is time to fuck up Ben's shit. So then Kane Scarlet Spider is all like that, and he's like, "The little girl's dead, Ben. You killed her." And then Ben's only reply is, "Dude, what the hell?" Now, if it was me, it was my catchphrase, "Dude, what the fuck?" But close enough. This is why I love Ben. We think so much alike. Dude, what the hell? And then he's like, "Ben, you killed her. There's no reason. There's no reason for me not to kill you. A little girl's dead, and it's all your fault." So then Deb comes up to him, and she goes, "Riley and I aren't done." And he's like, "Out of the way, miss. Can you please leave?" And she's like, "I'm warning you." And he's like, "Oh, come on, bitch, please. I do the market king. I do the market king." There's nothing you can do to me. I got the market king. He doesn't actually say that, but I have to go back to the chart on my Peter Parker reference. And she's like, "You're right about that." And then she fucking gives him the marker Kane. Because one touch kills Kane. And then he's like, "Whoa, that was amazing. That's awesome." Wait, Kane's not breathing. Kane. And then he's like, "Bitch, you just fucking killed Kane." Again. And then she's like, "We need to talk." Kane's dead, but that's a complete... No big deal. The way If this is the final death of Kane, which is not, Kane has come back from the dead multiple times if you're a clone fan. But if this is the end of Kane, that guy who's been like Ben Riley's arch enemy since the beginning went out like a fucking bitch.
Okay, James, what do you think of this comic?
See what I mean, Jay, when you said, oh my god, this comic's so stupid? Remember how people in the 90s, when they closed the trial by Peter Parker, and they're like, at least we know that the clone... When they got to a year or two later, when the Clone Saga ended, they were like, finally, enough. We don't gotta worry about this shit no more. 2017.
Yep.
I got a comic book cover where Ben Riley's fighting Kane. Children are dying. People are being shot. And Kane's being given the mark of Kane.
You're in heaven, aren't you? You're in, like, clone heaven.
Because this is like The Room. It's like I'm reading a comic book written by Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
I said that with issue 1, and John will quote me on that. I did say that. It's like Tommy Wiseau wrote a comic book. And it's continued. Issue, 5, I said kind of went down. But it picked itself back up with issue 6. At least the mother and the baby didn't get killed. But the mother got shot in the knee and the chest. It was like up here, so it was kind of more shoulder. She's bleeding. But she has enough time to tell Ben to think of the children. While she's somehow standing with a knee that got shot and bleeding out in the chest.
Mark of Kane! Alright. Any other thoughts, James?
I know he's not dead, because he always comes back.
Yeah, we just went through this like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to conclude the reviews.
Wait, can I do a fun game? Let's play how many times has Kane fucking died? Time number 1, the death of Kane at maximum clonage.
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Girl.
The Grim Hunt, wasn't it?
Oh, fuck that story.
No, not... Yeah, Grim Hunt, the Return of Kraven. Spider Island, but that would say he faked his death to go with Houston. Did he die in Spider-Verse? Wasn't it hinted that he died in Spider-Verse, too?
Yeah, and then he came back with no explanation.
So how many times has Kane died and come back?
Kane has died more times than Optimus Prime from the Transformers. And Optimus Prime dies in everything.
He's died more times.
He died more times than Kenny in South Park.
He's died more times than Castiel in Supernatural.
All right, that's going to conclude the reviews.
What kind of comic did I review? Oh, so we're holding out to renew your vows until next week when I can probably pick it up?
Yeah. So that's going to conclude this episode. It's also going to conclude this podcast. Any final shout-outs or words for the listeners, Jan?
I'm going to give a shout-out to Supernatural Season 12. I've started binge-watching the season again 2 days ago, and all I got to say is Episode 5, Dean Winchester shoots Hitler in the face and says, "Heil this," which is like maybe one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my entire life. So Nazis are bad, kids. Take Dean Winchester's word for it, and if you kill Hitler, you deserve pie, because, Supernatural. And I'd also like to give a shout-out to the physics department at Bradley for being a complete clusterfuck and making no sense. Like, in class, my physics professor was joking about the fact that he was probably drinking bourbon during the lecture. I'm just like, if you need bourbon, I need bourbon. Like, to even understand this shit, it makes no sense. It's a joke. If you go to Bradley University, don't take physics there. It's not recommended by me.
Okay, so well, now that we've pissed off the physics department at that university, James.
My shout-out this week is going to be a comic shout-out because, finally, one of the major DC plot points since Rebirth has been, come to an end, kind of. And it's who is Mr. Now, any Watchmen fan knows that DC's building up to a Doomsday Clock event coming up, which is going to be the big, finally, DC versus Watchmen crossover that's been, since 1986 in the making. And depending on who you ask, either the worst goddamn idea because Watchmen's is so pure you can't touch it, or the greatest idea ever, which I'm on the leaning of the fence because it's going to be kind of cool to finally see those Watchmen characters interact with, especially with today's political climate that we're in, and Watchmen that was a comment on the 80s Cold War, and see those characters you guys are much better now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of cool to see the characters interact with that. But it ties into the Superman because all the fucking clues have been hinting that Mr. Oz is Ozymandias, the guy who caused New York to blow up with a fucking squid in Watchmen. All the clues are him. Oz's logo is Ozymandias' logo. Ozymandias has the reasonings to do all this shit. His name is Mr. Oz. It's short for it. I mean, it fits. And Smallville fans are going to kind of happy or small because the villain of this whole Rebirth era turns out to be Jor-El. I feel like they pulled a Monarch here. And if you don't know Monarch, it was a DC event in the 90s called Armageddon 2001, where they basically said in 10, because it was like in 91 the event, it said in 10 years one of our heroes are going to turn on us. Everybody found out what hero was, so in the middle of the arc, they said it was a different character. I think that's what happened here. I think everybody found out it was going to be Ozymandias setting up the Watchmen arc. And then they were like, oh shit, I already predicted it. Who else is another pick? We just put Smallville on Hulu. Let's say it's Jor-El.
And for those of you who don't understand that, the joke is that on Smallville, Jor-El
was a dick during the first 6-7 seasons.
You have Brainiac on that show, and Jor-El, Superman's father, is almost more villainous than Brainiac.
It's literally that, because it's like the Superman caress hope, and it turns into Oz. And you read it, and Jor-El's dialogue did the Smallville writers write this? Because it's like, who are you? Well, you should know, Kal-El, I sent you, and they're in the fortress. You should know, Kal-El, I sent you to this planet to conquer it.
And if you think this is off topic...
Well, sent? What do you mean? Who are you? I sent you. I made the spacecraft that enabled you to escape Krypton so much. No, you can't be. It's exactly what I mean, Kal-El. I have survived, Kal-El. He said Kal-El a lot of times. They wanted to hammer on that he knows his name is Kal-El, Kryptonian. He goes, I survived a lot, Kal-El. And I know that, Kal-El, I sent you to the wrong place, Kal-El. I am your father, Kal-El. I am Jor-El.
Kal-El.
All right.
No, now I get to say Jor-El. And it's like... And I also want to say I love one of the cool things here is, again, the ads. Because they got an ad for Harley Quinn's upcoming new arc where it's all the history. It's because it's her 25th anniversary since the 90s Batman show. And so their anniversary celebration of the show is by promoting it's the 25th anniversary of Harley. Because Suicide Squad and she's the big deal. Not the whole cartoon altogether. That's a classic that made Harley Quinn a classic because she was on that cartoon. No, it's the 25th anniversary of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn's overrated.
And then it's literally they're gonna have, I guess, variant covers for her next arc, where they're classic Batman comics where now she's in them. She replaces Robin. Like issue 1, and the issue introduced Robin, and the issue that introduced Batgirl, and Dark Knight Returns. It's her jumping with Batman in the lightning bolt. It's like you're going to try to make the joke that Harley Quinn is more important than any other character in Batman's history. I like Harley. I love Harley Quinn. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Harley. My high school joke when I was dating my girlfriend Cassidy was because I was kind of the kid was more kind of like the, I don't want to say the rebel because I didn't do anything really that bad, but I was kind of like the emo skater kid. And like I said, she was the cheerleader. So our running joke with her friends who say, what are you doing with that nerd who reads comic books, watches Power Rangers, and likes My Chemical Romance? And her joke was she would always say, I love him, he's my Mr. J. Because I like the 90s Batman show, and I showed her a few episodes. I joked that I'm the Joker to your Harley because we're so opposites kind of thing. And you still love me, you're like mad loving me, you know what I mean? So she would call me Mr. J just to fuck her friends who are like, what are you doing with that guy? He's not right for you. He's even a Packer fan. We're from Chicago. We're from Illinois. What are you doing with a Packer fan? So her joke would always be when her friends who gave me shit would like, call me Mr. J. So I love Harley. I have sentimental, memories of Harley both as a child and when I was a teenager. But what the fuck, DC? Get off of Harley. Like, she has 3 upcoming DC movies. She has her own spin-off, the Joker spin-off, and Suicide Squad. Oh, and Siren, so that's 4 Harley movies. Do you think that's enough for one character?
All right. My shout-outs, Marvel, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, thank you for Spider-Man. Other shout-outs, I'll shout out to myself, I guess, because this upcoming Tuesday is my birthday. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, we'll talk about that.
Shout out to Legacy. Because I guess that's the big deal Marvel wants us to do. But when I read all the creative teams, they're all the same people you just fucking had before this event. Bendis is still on Amazing. I mean, it's on Iron Man.
I wish it
Slott's
was.
still on Amazing. I know this is going to pick John off a whole bunch and people who like to crawl in weird spaces, but Chip's still on spec. Everybody's pretty much is staying the same except for Renew Your Vows. They're the one getting the new creative team.
See, James, the difference will be that they'll have the word legacy on the covers. So.
And the numberings. Well, like I said, I'm going to buy a lot of these legacy books just so I can judge them on my own. But, like, a couple of them, it's like I'm already telling you, like, you can say this is Return of the Classical for Marvel, but when I look at this Iron Man, I don't see classic Iron Man. I'm just going to see Bendis writing Bendis style. You know what I mean?
All right.
His Generation book proves that. Bendis is just going to do what Bendis wants. You can put whatever banner you want on the book. He's just going to do his own thing.
All right. That's it for this week. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all later.